Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to the Destiny2 video. And in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at a build for the GrandMaster. This is gonna be like a last minute build for those of you guys that are still trying to get it done. And this one's gonna be for the Titan. If you still haven't gotten done the GM done this week and you're a Titan, then this is gonna be like the easiest way to actually get it done. We're basically gonna be taking the boss out of the equation just completely by just being the tank of the team. And just allowing our teammates to pretty much go around in the boss fight just unbothered by the boss, which is like the most dangerous thing in the boss fight, so it makes dealing with everything else just much easier. So let's get into it and let's get started. So first of all, we're gonna start with our exotics since they're the most important things and the main things we're gonna be using in the strike. So for our exotic piece of armor, we're gonna be using the stronghold, and this is the goat of this build. This pretty much lets us be almost unkillable while guarding with our sword. And after blocking, whenever we hit something, we get restoration ×2. So we can also heal with this, as well as just being able to take a bunch of damage. This is going to be great for both tanking champions, so we can pretty much just set up right in front of the champion and take the aggro away from him. He shoots at us, and whenever he puts the barrier, we just hit him with our sword and break him. And it's also going to be amazing for the main thing we're going to be doing in the boss room, which is just baiting the boss. We can literally just stand and block the boss's attacks and not even worry about dying, whether he goes for the melee attack, whether he goes for like the blast attack. None of them are gonna do really much to us, and since the boss is gonna be focusing on us, our teammates can pretty much just go around and take care of everything else. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that whenever you're blocking the boss, you want to definitely be on one of these platform things, so the boss kind of like jumps out and jumps up. In the in-between time, it kind of lets you some time to regen, and it just kind of makes it a little easier to just kind of deal with him, you know, so he's not there just blasting you the whole time or smacking you the whole time. Because while he does do like a lot less damage, eventually if you do keep just taking that damage over and over again and not healing, it will kill you. But for that to happen, you basically have to take so many shots that it most likely won't happen. Now for our exotic armor, we're gonna have the lament. This thing can actually put a lot of damage, and it's also anti-barrier, so it's gonna be like the main way that we're gonna deal with those barrier champions. We essentially want to damage them with our consecration just enough so they can put up their barrier shield, and we're just gonna stand there blocking their damage, and whenever they go for the barrier, we break them, we hit them with a couple of hits from the sword, and whenever it looks like the stagger is ending, you basically block with your sword again until he puts up the shield, break it again, and pretty much kill them. You can possibly kill them in just one shield break, but if you want to be safe, I would just say to just break it twice. It doesn't really take that much ammo to break, and it's just much safer. It essentially takes a couple more seconds, but you don't basically risk dying at any point with this. For the super, I recommend that you guys run the Strand super. It's a really good super, especially when going through the darkness swamp area. You can pretty much just pop it from like the midpoint and make it all the way to the end, just kind of running in your super. So it kind of makes dealing with the swamp easier. It's great whenever you gotta revive teammates, it can suspend things, it's just overall a really good super, so I recommend this one. For the class ability, you don't really have to have anything specific, but I had on Thruster. And then for our melee and our grenade, I went for the Strand ones. Frenzy Blade, so we can get the 3 melee charges and use our consecration more often. And the Shackle Grenade is just good. It makes it like going in and like consecrating enemies just easier, especially when you're doing it to champions. For our aspects, we don't really have anything groundbreaking. We basically have the default Titan ones. Consecration and knockout, so we can heal with melee attacks, and consecration because it's just amazing at doing damage, at dealing with ads, pretty much at everything. Now for the fragments, we're gonna have the faceted protection, so we can get some damage resistance whenever we're surrounded. It is 15 at base, and whenever we're transcendent, it is gonna be 25. We're also gonna be doing the faceted dawn. Whenever we get some power melee hits, we become radiant. Basically, just letting our weapons do a little bit of extra damage, and that's always kind of nice. After that, we're going to have the faceted balance, and this is essentially just going to give us some more uptime in our abilities. Whenever we get some multi-kills with light, we're going to get some melee energy. Whenever we get some multi-kills with darkness, we're going to get some grenade energy. Like I said, this is just so we can spam our abilities some more. After that, we're going to have the faceted sacrifice, where you have an arc, solar, void ability, final blows, grant darkness, transcendence energy. This is just to kind of help us get our transcendence faster, so we can spam it since we get so many melees doing it. And it's like a mini super with the consecration. And the final fragment we're going to have on this is going to be the faceted purpose. Whenever we pick up an orbital power, we're going to get woven mail. And this just adds a little bit more to our survivability by giving us some damage resistance. We're gonna be making a lot of orbs, so we should be getting this pretty often. Now for the other weapons that I recommend you pair it with this. First of all, it's gonna be a pulse rifle. I just cannot stop gassing up the battle scar with kinetic tremors. Any weapon with kinetic tremors though, or any scout rifle I should say, with kinetic tremors, will be pretty good, and this is mostly used to deal with the unstoppables. And overall, it's just a really good weapon. Now for the second weapon, I'm gonna recommend a grenade launcher with disorienting grenades. Disorienting grenades are almost a cheat code in the game. You essentially want to shoot this thing into a group of enemies, blind them all, go in with consecration and blow them up. Whatever's not usually dead, which is usually just the big enemies and the champions, you pull out the sword, block their shots, and the champion goes for the shield, you break it with the sword, do some damage, and then again, put up your guard, wait for the champion to do it again, and just kill them that way. That pretty much worked every single time when I did it. That's just how it goes. That's just the gameplay plan that we have with this build. Now for the artifact mod, since we're not really running stasis, we don't really have too many to work here. So we have the grenade launcher ones, which are going to be good, and also the finisher ones, the ones that give you damage resistance whenever you finish a big enemy, and also the one that essentially does like a damaging wave whenever you finish an enemy. Those are pretty much the only ones that you're looking at. Everything else is not really going to affect us. Now lastly, let's take a look at the mods that we're running on this build. And first of all, for the helmet, we're running Heavy Ammo Scout, Kinetic Siphon, and also Heavy Ammo Finder. Heavy ammo is just so we can keep our sword topped off, and since we're going to be using our battle scar mostly when things are too far away, that's what the Kinetic Siphon is for. On the gauntlets, we have Heavy Handed, so we can make some orbs with our consecration, and then also momentum transfer, so whenever we do damage with our melee, we get some grenade energy, and also fastball. On the chest piece, we're going to have some resistances as well as loosen blade, so our stuff can charge up a bit faster. For the boots, we're going to have recuperation, absolution, and also restoration. And lastly for the class item, we have outreach, bomber, and reaper. Reaper so we can make some more orbs after using our class ability, and these two so we can get back our abilities again after using our class ability. That's why I kind of like thruster, but it doesn't really have to be thruster. And with that, that's actually going to be the end of the build. And now you guys know the whole build. And the main way that you want to play with this build is you essentially go in with either a blinding grenade or a suspension. Especially if it's on a group of enemies or if it's on a champion, you definitely want to go with the suspend since they don't really get blinded. If it was a champion that you consecrated, after you hit it with the consecration, it usually will be in the zone where it will want to pop his barrier. So immediately after the consecration, you always want to start guarding with your sword. Even if it's not going to pop his barrier, you just want to guard with your sword, because if not, and you're really close to a champion, it'll probably kill you. But let's say that the champion did pop his barrier, you go in, break the barrier, hit it a couple of times. Whenever you see it's getting unstunned, you put up the guard again, wait for him to go for the barrier again, and essentially just break it and kill him again. That's pretty much going to be how you deal with all the champions. And once you get to the boss fight, you pretty much just want to just bait the boss. You want to be the main target of the boss, so your teammates can run around the arena and basically deal with the other things without having to worry about the boss. Just make sure that before you start, tell them that they're going to be doing that either in the voice chat if you're in the voice chat with them, or in the game chat, just so they know, because a couple of times when they didn't, the blueberries just kind of look confused. So just make sure that you tell them. I pretty much started doing it after that one, and it usually seemed to work out pretty okay. They pretty much just stayed away from me. You pretty much just want that to be the case. Just bait the boss as much as you can. If you do that, the boss room's going to be pretty straightforward, and it should be pretty easy. But anyways, with that, we're going to end today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. If you do end up giving this build a try, make sure you guys let me know in the comments below how it went, and if you ended up getting the role that you were looking for. Like always, there's going to be a dim link in the description so you can easily use the build, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This one is kind of a little bit late, but I wanted to definitely still get it out there for those of you guys that are still trying to complete the GM. But yeah, thank you for watching. Again, thank you for watching, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.